gander and a hunter and a gatherer.
A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up. A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crowned with wavy rays. It is a seal of royalist era. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large, muscular man. The title reads, Man from Eamdal in the Lost City of the Pygmies.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Sir, officer. What's the number? And the make... Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully they'll have dug up something useful by then.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is an inter-Isolari law enforcement service, the crown jewel in the moral intern diadem, alongside EPIS and the coalition government.
No, and I doubt they'll get back to me before tomorrow morning. Anything at 57?
In the cabin, you see
Yes? What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. Then you are in luck, because we are in the midst of a major strike by the dock workers union. Maybe more than that. The union clearly wants a piece, not just of the industrial harbor, but the Wild Pines Corporation itself.
Is this a strike then? Or the first shots in a workers' coup?
I expect the case itself to be less challenging than navigating these community matters. This district isn't used to the RCM's presence, and the union rarely overplays its hand, as it appears to have done in this case. Strike, coup, revolution, it's brigandage, however you parse it.
You feel something rising through you, a familiar feeling, an opinion taking form.
Politics is habit-forming and hazardous. It is also irrelevant to police work. You're right to doubt the impulse. It might be detrimental to our task here.
From an imaginary fan.
Now, was there anything else? Ah, yes, the case brief you missed. Now I remember. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. A security guard or worker of some sort, hired by Wild Pines. This was just hearsay from Martinez, of course. We need to find out the truth. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. That's us, the Revachol Citizens Militia. We're the police in this city.
The RCM, or the Revachol Citizens Militia, is the police force you and him are part of. A self-organized peace corps of the occupied city of Revachol. The RCM operates within a legal twilight, yet its authority is rarely questioned. It's super useful to know this.
That's right. You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? There's no reason. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not... Okay then. What? Good.
Fuck does Kuno care? So? Yeah, so? Kuno did sick the pigs on him. Kuno's a man of his word.
Kuno sent your fat ass running around like jello.
Look, pig. Kuno sent you to rough some people up. Kuno played you. That happened. Now you and Kuno should move on. You got fucked. You got fucked, pig. Fucked bad. Of course you're gonna remember this. Now get the fuck out of here, Grief and the Kuno. After this shit, You better have something real interesting to say if you want to stay in Kuno's face.
Yeah, real interesting.
Pig, do you have any idea how fucking stupid that sounds? Kuno gives you hot fucking leads, snitch bit style, and you come back griefing the Kuno.
Get the fuck out of here, fat ass. Those pants are too small for you.
The pants are totally okay. Don't listen to her. She's trying to give you body image problems.
Kuno doesn't.
An intricate... It still kind of looks like a map of the star.
I can't believe it felt like springtime just a...
Back already? It's the jam, my man.
The air from the east is thick with the smell of crude oils, heavy metals and other byproducts of the modern era. You can almost taste it.
It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating, an all-around clusterfuck. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Upon days. Feels like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes of mazout. Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already. So tell me, what do you need? It's like, whatever's going on over at the docks. Workers got a blockade set up, making demands, no way in or out.
Going on strike would probably help you dodge a bullet or two.
Some pretty wild stuff, I hear. Like a giant new power crane in half the company? I forget what exactly. Good on them, I guess. I've heard talk there's a company rep in town, too. Like, a strike negotiator type. They'd know what's up. Precise demands and so on.
Ah, yes, from the Wild Pines. We'll meet her soon enough, I'm sure.
They want to keep that money flowing in, my man. Ka-ching.
He doesn't blame them, but he's not on their side. That's for sure.
Maybe you should. Cops don't get paid much.
The RCM is a self-managing organization that operates on donations. We promote our own leaders. It would be like striking against your own mother. Yes, but do continue. You were asking about the strike?
Anything else? Us lorry drivers. Camionneurs. You still hang around here waiting for this mess to end. Most have scurried off somewhere to get drunk or high. Or laid. Not that I blame them, really. Not my thing. Chasing transient pleasures is a drag these days. I prefer the examined life now. Thinking, reflecting, observing.
He tries his best to look nonchalant, but there's a rigidity in him, as if trying to conceal something warm and deep beneath a cool exterior.
Oh, high-grade narcotics, illegal firearms, stuff like that.
Relax. He's merely joking.
Ha! No, I'm joking, my man. Found runs a nice, clean business. This haul of cargo is mostly sporting goods. You know, tracksuits and that kind of thing. They usually get shipped to Grodd in the Occident. Though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market lately. This rockin' beauty. Sure is. Like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested?
A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands. This one looks roughed up enough to be some sort of found rust bucket. Maybe the A6?
Good eye, my man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. Me and her spent a long time together. We're pals and all, but I can't just freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses won't be happy.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Oh.
Relax. He's merely joking.
Ha! No, they usually get shipped to Grodd in the... Not unless they've illegalized...
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want the bosses, man. Makes sense. Don't be a stranger.
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands. In the background, the radio plays. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her.
Wait. She's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone. Why? I just told you why.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you!
Hola, wandering man. How can I help you?
The unpromising race pupil returns.
I think this racist is better than the last. But the next racist will be the really good one.
That will be the...
He will grant us 3 wishes.
Your pedomorphic friend has quick wits. A protruding occiput and an indented zygomatic bone.
The lieutenant does not flinch.
You should keep him close. The congenital defect of farsightedness does not render him a complete invalid.
This is the night.
Is this about the questions again? Because
A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the bottles wink at you in the light. There, in that dark green glass, all in vain. The great flowing river of warmth.
I don't really know anything. I mean, I know it's there, but
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents.
No. You need tear to use the tear machine.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with their logo.
Just ask me if you need anything from Saint Baptiste. We don't.
Looking for something? Oh yeah, they're a big deal. My great-grandfather was a carter. Had a royal license. Someone with a cart. What did you think it was? That's how deep into history our thing sure fucking is. We have a guild and everything, huh? Goddamn right. Trusting street thugs with their goods is...
Can I help you?
Another thing. Great.
Yes?
You see a heavy the door does not. You see a Samaran street vendor surrounded by a motley assemblage of goods. When he realizes you're looking at him, his face breaks into a wide, welcoming grin. The name Sileng is embroidered over his breast pocket.
Happy shopping, officer. Everything's cool. The goods are cool, the customers are cool, the place is cool. And one more thing, officer, you're very cool. Bang, 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 bang! You're right, officer. 100%. No playing around then. Strictly business. Maybe I can interest you in some premium menswear instead. Only the coolest goods in Revachol. I've got sneakers, speakers, extremely comfy pants too. Try them on right here. No shame, only freedom. Anything for you. You mean these delicious pre-packaged shelf-stable meal kits? Really easy to cook? No hassle? Really?
No hassle. There's a little of a hassle here, it appears. A moral hassle.
Completely free. Yours for 5 cents a piece. Rock that tuna. Why not some macaroni too? No problem here, officer. I get all this from one of my suppliers, an extremely reputable guy.
Wait. Humanix. Humanitarian aid.
What?
A convincing performance. Bravo.
Look, officer, I'm just a retailer. You'd have to talk to my supplier if you got questions about the supply chain. That's how the game works.
Interesting.
Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares about the part?
This man probably comes from Seaguy, sometimes known as the Apricot Suzerainty, an archipelago in the Samaran. Apricot Suzerainty calls to mind an era when the Seaguy archipelago was colonized by Revachol. It's a bit of a slur, in other words.
Very cool. I admire your awareness of our intertwined histories. It's super nice of you to apologize for colonialism, but the Apricot Suzerainty is a shithole. That's why I left. No, it's very cool, officer. You're a cool cop for caring about those things. You should buy.
Start with a little compliment, then work your way up from there.
Oh, okay. An investment? What kind of investment? Ha! That! You drive a hard bargain, officer. I respect that. Okay. What's it going to cost me? Sounds like a fair deal all around.
Corruption.
Welcome back, officers. I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just...
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the waterlock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed Samaran butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the... The spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the waterlock to get across the canal. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? A crumpled billboard reading, Samaran butter soaks in the canal. Two ugly lines mar the bright countenance. The sign billboard has fallen on the waterlock, keeping it open. Judging by the size of the impact and the parallel lines of burnt rubber, the cause was probably a motor vehicle. These look like the same tire tracks I saw earlier, in front of the whirling rags. Side slip marks indicated that the vehicle was traveling up the crater at 35 kilometers an hour. The black marks on the roof indicate that the vehicle vaulted from the crater to the roof of the shack. The panel served as a takeoff ramp. The vehicle soared through the air, hitting the billboard and upsetting the posts. Then, the sign broke the vehicle's fall into the canal. The salmon and butter billboard still looks freshly painted, suggesting it took the plunge recently. Within the past 72 hours. Still speeding, the vehicle made a loop and vanished into the fog along the coast. There are two good candidates, the Caprice 40 and the Linear G22. It's about the right size, and the tire marks look like they came from the skinny tires frequently found on that motor carriage. The Caprice 40 is a very popular model, with bank clerks, topping pie delivery drivers, secondary school teachers, cops, strippers dressed as cops, undressed strippers. Very sturdy but light motor carriage. More likely than most to survive that jump. The Linear G22 is not a particularly popular model due to its peculiar proportions, which the manufacturer's design team probably thought about for too long. You'd have to follow the tracks to be sure. The lieutenant looks on, waiting for you to wrap up your analysis.
Any theories about what happened here? What kind of car do you think it was? That's quite likely, from what I can tell. Oh. The traffic hooliganism? I hope not. Fortunately, we are not traffic cops. Should we get back to the murder?
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you? I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained. Traffic? I'm sorry, officer, but I don't drive. I just don't like it very much. Now that I think about it, I do remember hearing a thunderous noise the other night. Some kind of powerful electric vortex.
That sure narrows down our list of suspects.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I didn't really know what to make of it. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. Can't say I'm a huge admirer of wild pines, and I can't say I trust any silver-tongued spokesperson of theirs. Fortunately, I have no reason to get involved. No, just People like that make everyone else see the world somewhat askew, at an angle that is convenient for them. Now, you have more questions, or are we? I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
He doesn't know anything. The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? You're right that she could cast aspersions on the force. We have to find her.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it right now. You'll just have to hope Everard wasn't lying, and the Union can track her down in time.
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon to sell. I told them I already sold it. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know, all sorts of people come here, asking for all sorts of things.
Wait, then it might be true. Everard's claims.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
People as oleaginous as Everard seem like they're lying, even when they're really being truthful.
Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps.
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever. What?
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Heimdall burning. The antlers on the hood of the man's cloak and his piercing blue eyes are familiar. Smells like worn cotton and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or...
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't.
It's the man from Heimdall.
Walking away from his burning village, yes. The man from Heimdall is the hero of a series of popular books based on a fiction. In fact, most people...
Heimdall isn't...
Neither is...
Wow, what? You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All asked, why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Oh, that's the headless phone rider. There's been a lot of interest in that particular figurine. I had to hide it so it wouldn't fall into the wrong hands.
He doesn't elaborate on these wrong hands. It's unlikely that he ever will.
I've heard about it. I've heard the headless phone rider rides a headless bull.
Yes, there are several competing versions of the story. The headless phone rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting 50 cents. Bargain price. I'll throw in the tiny...
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head. The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stay.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the streets. We'll figure something out.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? A lot. A lot. For the room, drinks, and broken window, 130 real. Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me? As a police officer, you must understand that I cannot take you at your word without evidence. Evidence being money. You can't stay here without money. Good luck trying to use it.
Draconian measures.
All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down here with a master key before your guest key will open the lock. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay. I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
Oh, Lieutenant. We're done here. Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you own? Game? Everything is just a game to you, isn't it? Not until you...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done. Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me... What about what I...
Literary demotion. That's the worst.
Not until you...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant. Yes, have you got it? A lot. Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already...
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Not until you...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant. Can I help you? Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying...
I understand. I feel I'm...
Forgive me. I mean no if... Oh, wonderful. Try to do that. I'll have to call you an ambulance. Oh, not until...
Okay.
Oh, Lieutenant.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure? Regular people just call it the cage. The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity. A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high. I don't know. Is it? I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back. No, that would be silly. I don't know why I kept them. It doesn't matter. I couldn't put them on this MC anyway. A cup with spinners.
The spinners shine so bright they reflect on the lieutenant's glasses.
Yes, the Bird's Nest Roy, near the canal. We've been there.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab. You can pawn these items when talking to Roy.
All right, let's not take them now. Then come back once we realize we have to. Have this conversation again, and then take them.
Sounds likely. The white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle so the cage.
I confiscated this for a little.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners.
Greetings on this fine night. What brings you here? The pawn shop is always open.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump a misc banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course. I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The rest is for him, to compensate for the pain of being separated from his radiant spinners.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
Can I help you? Yes. Have you got it? Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you continue to stay here, I just ask that you please pay your nightly bill in advance starting tomorrow. The electronic lock to your room has been disabled till 9 p.m. tomorrow. Please pay for each night in advance starting tomorrow. 20 real per night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the investigation. Let's go out to the balcony.
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then...
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. Our role here, our rights, our jurisdiction, basically. I have a cigarette every night when I go over my notes. It's something of a ritual.
Oh man, he looks so devastatingly cool with that cigarette.
Yes, it's been a long and eventful day. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's good. It was not easily approachable in that state, but we did it. I would say our initial inspection was very thorough, and we have solid leads to follow up. Then you shot the body down, which was quite a shot. I admit I wasn't sure whether I should give you the gun, but I'm glad I did. Your shot enabled us to perform a field autopsy on the victim. We found some things we can really work with. I still feel like we missed something, but it's up to the boys in processing now. We did perform a thorough search of the crime scene. That's great. Now, as for interviews, my list of people to talk to here in Martinez, I mean. Very important indeed. Well, we conducted an interview with Everard Clare. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however.
He's not saying much on the matter because he thinks you could have gotten more out of Everard.
Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief. Moving on. We didn't talk to the Wild Pines rep. We really must do that tomorrow. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot. Is that a standard Precinct 41 practice? Alright, but... and forgive me, this has been bothering me since this morning. How have you managed to run around all day wearing only one shoe? Well, there seems to be a shoe that is a match to the one you're wearing further down the balcony. Perhaps you can collect it when we're done talking.
He's right. There it is, green and shiny under the glowing whirling window. The sky above is dark and the lights sparkle.
Imagine how much faster you could run wearing a cool patent leather shoe on each foot. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebachol Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. Yes, although indirectly, as citizens can always request records from their local station. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines trust in the RCM. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station call slip. It prevents confusion and overcrowding. You can't. Those who don't show up become fugitives, though, and have fewer legal rights when they are eventually caught. It's about power projection. Thus far, they seem to mostly show up. As you may have gathered from the fact that we are expected to carry a record of our kills, like the one in your watermarks, we are permitted to use whatever force is necessary, and strongly admonished not to abuse that power. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to coalition government courts in Couron and La Delta. The prosecution works off our testimonies and records, which is why it's paramount to keep them. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal force. In these cases, your partner is usually your witness. Not a good position to be in, by the way. Internal Affairs handles these cases thoroughly, by cross-examining you for inconsistencies. It is hard to cover for anyone, which is for the best. The coalition government, and the moral intern more broadly. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. Be sentimental if you like. Either way, the moral intern leases us the right to keep the peace in this city, and they will take it away if we misuse it.
Or if they think you do.
The Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. They also run the ICP, EPIS, most intergovernment. What do they believe in? They are Dolorians. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by Her Innocence Dolores Day 4 centuries ago. Others say they are just technocrats.
Those others say they continue.
Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not. Their motto is love, compassion, self-discipline. I think you can gauge what they want you to think of them from that.
Something kind and usual. Something almost self-explanatory. Something like the dark blue, serious color of the early night sky.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for the moral intern are a fact. I try not to have opinions on facts until they change. And do you? In fact, we would need them even if you didn't think that way. We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Then you will adore Martinez. For many of these people, the Union especially, vigilantes is precisely what we are.
The dying lights of the city shimmer below. Slowly, like luminous clouds, they pass on his lenses. The lieutenant looks at his slim cigarette, contemplating the next drag. An aerostatic passes overhead, the whiskers of its floodlights on the ground below. Kitsuragi's glasses light up as he looks to the sky. 2 glowing circles.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid, Kuno. It's different inland, in Jamrock and the GRIH. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. It's like I told you, this place is an orphan, fallen between the cracks. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... But we are in control, and it's worth it. The organization works, our systems work. If they didn't, the city would disintegrate. Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic changes in our lifetimes.
He is very tired, but the dark circles...
Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go.
Hear that? Magnesium. That's what you're lacking. The lack of magnesium has you slouched. Yes, and it's critical. Look at yourself. You're practically devolving into a fish due to the lack of magnesium in your bloodstream. Maggot sideways? What are you talking about? You need to maggot up. You've probably had 2 heart attacks and a minor stroke already, and the only prescription is insane amounts of magnesium. Yes, if you want to live, you need to evolve. You need to transcend the carbon barrier. Go to the apothecary and buy insane amounts of magnesium. It will reverse the damage to your circulatory system. There they both are. 2 identical shoes, both copiously green and indiscriminately snakeskin, reunited on your feet like 2 baby crocodiles. It's pretty clear a normal cop is not what you are. Good, they're balanced, comfy. Feels like the only good thing about you right now, truth be told. The bed is cold and not particularly inviting, but it's yours. The sheets look awful.
The option to go to sleep becomes available every night after 9 p.m.
The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight as you stretch out and finally close your eyes. And then sleep. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with your eyes closed, but it's not happening. Maybe it's the bed's fault. Its synthetic filling has separated into hard lumps. The pillowcase smells oddly. Smells of alcohol and sweat and grease. It barely covers your toes, stretching over your soft belly. This is your body here, intimate and warm, breathing, a bit tense in the muscles. Relax. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Part of you is still trying to solve the case, isn't it? Something to do with, what was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's gone again. Your thoughts lost between the slowing brain waves. Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you until your eyelids twitch in your sleep and images start forming.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry? Answer the question. You're not kidding anyone, Harry. You don't remember shit. Tell me, do you remember your wife's hand on your face? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, wandering. It's the worst day of all time, Harry dear. And it's coming. She will hear about it on the phone. Reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Tell me, do you remember the love of your life? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? Oh no, funky baby, you stayed. It was the rest of it that left. Or you just stood there, with one hand on the bottle and the other on your dick, watching it go. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never coming back. You failed. You failed me. You failed Elysium. Everything. The Pale and the Islas. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. Burning, furious truth. 8,000 years of written history. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked up. You're not coming back from shit, thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours, bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who are you kidding? No, Harry. You were just talking to yourself. That's all you ever do, even in your dreams. And the act is wearing thin. The spots of the disco ball fade around you. You'll be back in those cold snakeskins in no time, sweating up the bed. Stinky boy. You're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up garbage. The pictures are gone. The bed rises to meet you. A thin, sleep-like state. More glass than velvet, grinding in your head.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. There's something wrong with your thoughts. Some kind of... Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Here it comes too. So soon already. A silent alarm goes off in your head like clockwork. Barely let you sleep at all. Time to get those clothes on, Harry. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have ones like that all the time. You feel even worse this morning than you did last night. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying, isn't it? You can't be a detective like this. Detectives need to be able to think. That's not really true. Your heart has finally pumped all the speed out of your system, Buster. Time to get some more. You're too weak to say no now. Waking up is the worst part. Maybe somewhere down the line you could decline. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you propped up all day yesterday, despite your debilitating hangover. How else did you think you even got up from this floor? It's power, man. It's professionalism. It makes you feel like you're young again and ready to detect. Ready to go to war against the world. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest, 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You won't make it. Half the town will be dead by then. You suit yourself, slow, sad shell man. See how you do without your spark. The door is closed. There is no answer. You hear the shower being turned on, somewhere inside. A tremendous loneliness comes over you. Everybody in the world is doing something without you. The door is closed. Still no answer. This door can only be opened with a key or from the inside. Still nothing.
Morning. I've got some good news. I took care of the body. The thought of him decomposing in my MC wouldn't let me sleep. I'm just glad he's gone. We have other matters to attend to.
Oh well, we'll get the armored boots in another lifetime. The lieutenant is downplaying his contribution. He got up before sunrise to get this done, and now he's quite pleased with himself for taking care of the gruesome business so efficiently.
The Union muscle finally turned up, and they look rowdy. We need to talk to them. I mean ungovernable. Martinez isn't exactly enthusiastic about the RCM being here. They prefer to be policed by the Union. These men here. Men who drink beer for breakfast. I have no doubt these are the hearty boys Evrard told us about. The ones who keep the peace around here. And the big one must be Hardy himself. I completely forgot. Sorry, I had a rough night's sleep. It's them by the looks of it. Loud and nasty, just like the managers. One loose thread less to worry about. This is clearly the Union's peacekeeping force Evrard told us about. The one he said hanged out. We can't be sure, of course. Evrard may have lied to us. That would just escalate tensions. No captain would sign off on it. Solving one murder isn't worth a conflict between the RCM. In fact, even the death of 2 detectives might not warrant an all-out war. So let's keep a cool. One more thing before we do. We don't have to talk to them immediately. We can walk right past them, continue with our business.
Yeah, streetwise. Zoom right past. Do it on your own terms. But aren't you curious to know what they have to say about the murder?
They're in no hurry to leave. They think they own the place. Anyway, I leave that choice to you. Whatever you decide is fine by me.
Just a moment, officer. And there's no public phones nearby?
She's agitated and keeps pulling at the frayed edge of her blanket.
The closest phone booth is down the coast. Sorry for the inconvenience, ma'am.
It's fine, I understand. Thank you anyway. Now then, please don't trouble yourself about me, sweetie. I was just hoping to make a call, but the Whirling's phone line isn't working. The union office probably has a phone, but I can't really get there or to the phone booth down the coast. And Gary's phone is dead too. The manager was vague about it.
Why would he be vague? This is something to look into later. Ask God, maybe.
Lieutenant Kitsuragi, may I ask what you needed to use the phone for, madame?
To let the young woman who's house-sitting for us know that we may be delayed. Morel, my husband, and our friend Gary were supposed to get back by Monday night, but they're still missing, and I haven't heard from them. I was also hoping she'd heard from Morel. Oh, forgive me for not introducing myself. My name is Lena. My husband and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
A little missing persons puzzle might just be the thing to take your mind off the hangover.
That's just it. This isn't like him at all. He always plans his expeditions so carefully, but you have more important things to worry about. Just some field work, sweetie. Morel is a highly trained scientist. He and his assistant Gary are studying an extremely rare species of insect, but they should have returned by now. They were just going down the coast across the water lock to set a few traps. He said they'd be back on Monday. What could be keeping them?
The water lock. That was broken. Could this be it?
Oh, sweetie, it's nothing like that. Gary's as loyal as they come. I trust him with my husband's life any day. Oh my, what happened to the water lock? Oh, sweetie, if it weren't for you, I'd be looking forward to another sleepless night. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you both.
You're welcome, ma'am.
I hate to ask, but if your investigation takes you to the other side of the coast, please do keep an eye out for my husband.
Yes, some left-field scientific research is exactly what you need right now. Funk up that vanilla murder investigation.
And if you see him, let him know Lena is waiting for him here at the Whirling. He gets so tangled up in his work that he may not know the water lock's been repaired. And it's cold out there. Oh, you're such a dear. Thank you, sweetie. Oh, yes. A zoologist. A cryptozoologist, to be more...
It's a pseudoscience that attempts to legitimize research into mythological beasts and urban legends.
That's one opinion, yes. And people are entitled to their opinions.
She's used to playing off such insults casually, but they still affect her.
My apologies, ma'am. I did not mean to undermine your hobby.
It's not a hobby, dear. It's a subfield of zoology, one specializing in animal species that are so exceedingly rare that many assume them to be extinct or even fictitious. Searching for such species called cryptids is difficult and often thankless, and frankly, many scientists are too lazy to do it. Universities these days are rarely interested in supporting real research.
The quality of research at Revacholian universities has been on the decline, but you doubt there was ever a time when cryptozoology...
Oh dear, I'm not sure where to begin. Well, his expression is slightly grumpy, but his eyes are always bright and curious, like a small boy's. And his palms are quite coarse from all the field work, but he's quite gentle.
You can't go around Revachol feeling grown men's hands. If you want to find her husband, you'll need more concrete information.
Oh, well, he's a bit shorter than you, but with a larger frame, and he has longish white hair, usually a bit uncombed. You might say wild, even.
The lieutenant pulls out his notebook and begins jotting down the woman's description.
One other thing, he'll likely have all kinds of field gear on him, even if he's not out in the reeds, you know, just in case. We'll be celebrating our 16th anniversary this autumn. Not the most numerically satisfying anniversary, but I like the less obvious milestones even more somehow. By a dating agency, I'm ashamed to say. I was looking to get back into the scene after recovering from my accident. And he'd just divorced. We hit it off, and, well, here we are.
She's skipping over some important parts. Perhaps you'll find out more later.
I hope I've been useful.
Let me handle this. Detective disorientated. Are you still wondering where you are? This is Martinez, in case you've forgotten. I advise you not to overstay your welcome.
Her entire character has shifted. This young woman is cold as ice.
That's right. I am not a gardener. I'm a legal counselor for the Dock Workers Union. So let's get to it. You're looking for Titus Hardy? You think he has information that will help you? Maybe he does. That's Titus. Talk to him. But know this. I'll be keeping an eye on you. No strong arming. Nothing official. The District of Martinez does not recognize your authority to make arrests.
It doesn't matter if you recognize our authority. We will make an arrest if we have to.
She says nothing. Her glare speaks for her. Could this be the Miss Beaufort that Easy Leo mentioned? The one Mr. Everett sent to law school?
I suggest not wasting time on trivial pleasantries and focusing on why you are actually here. Titus Hardy.
Even though she has excellent control over herself, something moved behind her eyes. In the way she stands. In her...
You are not here to chat up the legal counsel. You are here to... Like I already told you, I'm a legal counselor. Do you... What you want is of no significance. What are we going to do to you? The union isn't going to do anything to you.
Goddamn right it is.
If anything, it is the RCM who do. Aggressive. You make your living enforcing violence. These people...
Just dock workers? Do dock workers spy on the police? We let you off easy, miss. Don't think it will happen again. We've talked to Everard Clare. We know who these men are. The union's militant wing.
Listen, you moral intern lackeys. You're a mob, enforcing the unlawful privatization of Revachol. 20 fat men in the Occident are stealing it all, and you're their bodyguards.
Fuck yeah.
So ask what you came to ask, or get back to your commanders. Get sober. Do your job. Ask your questions.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass like bony fingers. There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside.
This is where you say your bed.
Detective.
Oh, this is about him. A real looker, that won't.
You sure took your time, huh? Waited for him to get real ripe and pretty for you.
Oh, he was a real pretty boy. Hanging up there, letting out that pretty boy smell.
I can't for the life of me understand why you did it. I mean, I would have just left him up there. You must really like cleaning up other people's shit.
You might want to start asking your questions now. It's not going to get better than this.
Do a head count first. Connect these men to the tracks you saw in the yard. Chances are they're going to match. Starting from the right, boot size 44, blonde man, in his 30s, overbearingly masculine. Sitting on his right, standard working boots, size 45 or 46, eldest in the room, probably mid-50s, smoker, quiet. Across at the other table, hobnailed working boots, size 43, gang tattoos, Mesk or Sarah Mauritian, in his late 30s, early 40s. He spent his youth in Villa Labos, a housing project in the Jamrock Quarter. There were incarcerations, hard to say what else. The ink is fading. And then, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 46, the big dick, wide at the shoulders and lean at the hips, rugby cap, fingerless gloves, and numerous scars, a little under 40. The emblem on his vest says Rowing Club. A little patch below it reads T. Hardy, Captain. In the far corner, standard working boot, steel reinforced toes, size 44, 40-something, non-alcoholic beverage in hand. You squint. Is that a plectrum? On his neck. Forget it. It's not important. Let's call this one the musician. Size 41, with the light step. Not a child, after all. An older man with a rat face, mean, watery eyes, and 2 front teeth missing. In the middle, heaving and wheezing. Big guy. Boot size 46, deep marks. Probably carried the victim over. He, alone, is 130 kilos. Add the man in armor, and you could easily exceed 220. In conclusion, these 7 are the actors on the crime scene. The footprints were theirs, but there's a discrepancy. Exactly. You've stood there for about 4 seconds, not saying anything. Hit them with questions. Where's the 8th Hardy?
The fuck is with you, fella? What are you talking about, madman? There's no 8th Hardy boy. There's 7 of us and we're all here. Or what? You want to be the 8th Hardy boy? We ain't hiring.
Actually, boss, we've been talking and we think she could maybe...
She? So there's an 8th Hardy and it's a Hardy girl? Who might it be? Elizabeth? The gardener?
Shut the fuck up, Glenn! I do the talking here. Now what the fuck do you want, cop?
It has to be good, if he won't let you pursue it. Looks like the lieutenant thinks so too.
So let me get this straight. There is an 8th Hardy boy. It's a she, and you don't like us talking about her?
That's right. We're not talking about this. This is a private Hardy Boys matter. Nothing to do with your shit. End. You're not cops here. Don't go digging around if you don't want a bullet in the back of your head. I'm watching you.
Good. We are all watching each other. Officer, your question.
The pretty boy. You guys really love talking about that pretty boy.
Funny. But my partner and I have a serious matter to discuss with you.
Everard? And what did he tell you? That we killed him? That we took a cargo belt from the harbor, went out back, and used it to hang him. Because we did. All of us together. I hope he told the story straight. I hope he told it well.
There's a catch hidden somewhere. He didn't confess so that you could take them all away. It's too simple.
There is no catch. These 7 honest men have all equally come forth to tell you what happened, so that you don't waste any more of your time.
All 7 together. They're diluting responsibility. It's an anti-arrest tactic.
Are you deaf? There will be no singling anyone out. You can't arrest a hardy boy without arresting all hardy boys. Do you think you could do that? Do you think you could arrest them all?
A trick question. Don't let her lead the conversation.
Who do you fucking think does?
It wasn't a question, dickwad. How fucking stupid are you?
This asshole is worse than... Titus runs the Hardy Boys, genius.
I think you got your answer, Mr. Law.
Yes, there are some administrative differences. But on that night, they all acted as one man. You don't have to keep answering his questions.
I know, Lizzie. Relax. We killed him last Sunday night. Seemed like a good way to end the week.
Known him? We don't associate with scum like that, asshole.
Yeah! Who do you think we are?
Quiet. He came around about 3 weeks ago when that Pines cow first sailed into town. Happy?
By the Pines cow, you mean the representative for White Pines? The shipping company you are striking against?
No. I mean the Pines cow. The stupid-ass cow they sent in to fuck us over. But you know what? Why don't you ask her about the pretty boy? I'm sure she has interesting things to say when you ask her hard enough.
That's enough insinuation for today, Titus. Officer, your interview is drawing to an end. Don't waste your last questions.
Why? 'Cause he was worthless mercenary scum. And he stepped out alive in my town. And he stepped out of line.
What kind of mercenary?
The kind that shows up when you start a strike. The experienced kind, too. Had Cohoy and Semenine written all over him. Ex-Oranese Special Forces.
A live grenade. Right here in our bar.
I can't prove it, but I know he was sent by the Wild Pines. They hire merc shit like that. Story of every strike from here to Samara.
'Cause one night, he walked straight up to the mic and said, I'm Oranese goddamn Special Forces, and I'm gonna fuck you all.
Really?
Yeah, really. Had a gin and tonic up there, sang some Oranese paratrooper song, and said he's gonna fuck everyone.
We couldn't believe it either, but he fucking did, right there. Like some kind of animal.
This is a serious violation of the karaoke code.
Wrong. He harassed women, raped one, Harassed workers. Threatened to kill some as a warning.
From rape to harassment to threats of violence. Why the strange de-escalation? He regrets mentioning it. Hopes you didn't notice.
To kill us all, if we don't open the gates, if we don't let the scabs in, if we don't bend over. And that was before he started coming here.
Yeah, he said it was his favorite joint now. Started coming here every night. Drinking, grabbing girls. Grabbed one of ours mid-karaoke, right there on the stage.
He grabbed someone?
Yeah. This girl's on the mic. A beautiful girl, young. Gets into the second verse of Lover Lake. The fucker grabs her legs, starts screaming. Show me your cunt! Why don't you show me your cunt? Then, he gets knocked on the head with a wine bottle. Doesn't even fall down.
Aren't you fucking listening? My man is talking to you. He took care of it. They got the girl out before him.
Yeah, me and Eugene got her out. Aren't you fucking listening?
Seems like they don't want to talk about that rape Titus mentioned. Why not? This is a serious allegation. Make them talk about it.
No. You're not getting the name. That's a Martinez matter. And I'm not discussing it with you clowns.
There's nothing you can do for now. He's stonewalling you.
We hanged him up by his neck until he got real still. Wasn't that obvious, Copper?
Didn't they teach you anything at the cop school, idiot?
The autopsy showed there were no ligature marks. His hands were not tied. Can you explain that?
The lieutenant goes in for the leg sweep. Titus does not see it coming.
Look, I'm not gonna play 20 questions with you, Capo. I'll say it again. We killed him.
Yeah, I knocked him out. Came up behind him and clapped him in the back of the head. He went down like a sack of sand.
That's right, lawman. And then we hanged the fuck.
Make them a bit more uncomfortable first. Then see if it all adds up.
My fucking elbow, Copper. Samaran boxing style.
Samaran boxing, or Sambo, is an eloquently violent set of one-on-one fighting moves, originating from the Samaran Isola. Sambo style implies stealth, cleverness, and cool.
Right fucking here. Eugene already told you that the fuck had started coming to our bar.
Yeah, man, weren't you listening?
Titus is solid as a rock, and so are a few others, but...
No. Of course he's having trouble breathing. Just look at how fucking fat he is.
Fuck off, Shanky. Angus is a powerful guy. All muscle.
Keep your eye on this powerful guy. Sooner or later, he's going to break like a piece of twig.
And fuck you, too, Copper. Picking on Angus like this. We're done with this schoolyard shit. And just...
This one is a stone wall. You won't get more out of them about the night of the murder. Not yet.
Like what, Copper? How many people have you sent to the Shays? Ever felt remorse for them?
Chaise électrique is the method of capital punishment in Revachol under the Coalition. During the suzerain's reign, it used to be the firing squad.
Or send them to Reunion to rot. For 20 years. For life.
But you see, a lawman, is something people agree upon. And here in Martinez,
Nothing. Your investigation here is done. Leave Martinez, go back to your stations where you belong.
I think we're going to stick around, thanks. Some things don't add up here, Titus. I've done this job for long enough to know that people don't just confess to first-degree murder. Even if it is a group responsibility, we're going to look into this.
good luck with that. You've heard everything a rent-a-cop is gonna hear from us, real law officials. You're lucky you didn't get a beating. Oh, so you went and talked to my mommy, and now she's making me play with you.
And what's gonna happen if we don't? You gonna go and tell on us?
Yeah, I heard him. Now fuck do you think I'm doing here? You'd have your ass handed. Let me state this very clearly, Capo. Hello, officer. I'm Titus Hardy.
But having Everard back you up like that did seem to have some effect.
Again.
Good one, Titus.
About fucking time.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbor. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here.
Like steel. There is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic. It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain. Saint-Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you. I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue. Yes, past a certain point, numbers begin to seem imaginary, but they are quite real for the 72,000 employees who depend on Wild Pines for their paychecks. A conglomerate the size of Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops, they started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when Pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? We built this district.
We. There it is. She owns up to it.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions, the plazas Meteor and Mosaic. Even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees, a company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built. Everything, right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later. Oh, so you've met him. Has he beguiled you with his inane theories?
My colleague has his peculiarities. Let's not go into this particular one just yet.
Of course. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous even. It's meant.
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board. Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines Group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, call me mañana.
This checks out. No, wait. The chief negotiator heard it from a man at the gates. Surely the Wild Pines Group has more effective channels of information. After all, 2,200 people are on strike. This is a big deal for them.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock come to plead for work where the union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
If the workers were organized by Wild Pines, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
If you were to prick him with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Oh, heavens, no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Have you seen him? Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, Detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the Union's files. Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a Union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help? Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Of course. But before we do, officers, let me be perfectly clear. The situation is extremely volatile. The sooner we can speak about this lynching business, the better for all of us. That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. Of course, Detective.
Advanced race theory. Everything is calm in the eye of the race storm. Your mind is lucid and bright. The mind-bending phylogenetics appear more distant and, to be fair, a little ridiculous. The great race mystery has cleared up. All that's left to do is verbalize your thoughts. Go and talk to Measurehead about your newly found insights.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? I'm afraid I can't say any more until we've taken...
Feelings will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible. Trust me, officer.
She's silent. The wind flaps.
Officer. You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give some...
You're doing it, despite your...
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbor. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and, you know, not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Maybe this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching. I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think, oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large, and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samaran Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff. Yes, after they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, man. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbor into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable.
How convenient that they're stranded like beached whales at that roundabout.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance in bright daylight, upstream where it's clearer.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them.
We did, on more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers. No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However, this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of liters of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable. The weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open the drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you. The two might even be connected.
Or not. Though, if you have evidence to the contrary, I'm eager to hear it.
As eager as I am to share it, Lieutenant, once the job is done. Yes? Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance. You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare? Of course, Detective. Excuse me for implying otherwise.
The RCM does not pick sides in this. I hope it doesn't come off any other way.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt verm myself. However, if you felt like discussing something, how could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be...
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
Oh. That's so helpful of him.
The lieutenant looks at you, and you can swear his jaw muscle is trembling. He's able to contain the anger and surprise.
Unconventional police officers sometimes lose their guns. They then go around and tell people about this, to gauge their reactions. It's all part of detecting.
Incredible. Simply incredible. And how is it going? Has this detecting produced a gun? Yes. As you said.
Please, don't get him in a loop. If he gets in a loop, it will last forever. Ask him to say something else, please.
That's wrong. You don't get into loops. Totally slanderous. Maybe you've gotten into one tiny loop once.
Of course. Thank you for the advice. I'm glad you were here to assist. Your other dealings with Everard are still...
The lieutenant will be more lenient toward sharing those, hopefully.
A referral, you mean? I take it this was for someone in the RCM. Don't answer that. Such referrals may sometimes get you information from a man like Everard.
Detective, I advise you to be very selective with what information you choose to share. This may have consequences beyond our line of sight.
Naturally, Detective. There are lighter topics to gossip about. Sounds like he has you running errands, Detective. A well-established dominance ritual. Where did he have you deliver it? Ah, yes. I've been meaning to go there.
With longing. Clear and simple longing. Strange. Why does she want to go there?
A youth centre with Edgar Clare's statue on top of it. Go ahead. Help him. Make it so. I have no power to stop him. I should be. In my youth, I had a brief dalliance here in Martinez. He was an older man with impossibly broad shoulders. He's probably dead by now. Even his shack is long gone. Not that it matters. These buildings are all carbon copies of one another. Yes, I was slumming it with some girlfriends of mine. We had boats and... Don't hold it against me. My paramour certainly did not. Not overly so. It's not like this was the only place we visited. Me and my girlfriends from Azon with our shiny boats. Like reavers. We told ourselves we were the worst thing to happen to the coast since the Coalition landed in '08. Yes. I'm sad I'll never have the time, Detective. I've always wanted...
She is more defensive about it than usual.
Full of ghosts and ancient memories. Of course, Detective. Until then, is there any... Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get a... Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas Alamer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world.
Okay, if you want to get technical. The point is, we're all on islands here, and I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Ravachol.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances and...
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich. Why what? Stop thinking. Take her down. Have it your way.
The boat? No. It is called It's a pleasure craft. And my sloop? I like it.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we investigated.
Good.
Aces low. For the rest of the world, the Aces Low is just some cool Revachol thing, politically neutral. In Revachol, it still holds revolutionary connotations. Also, have you looked at Lieutenant Kitsuragi's clothes? He wears a bomber jacket, just like the ones worn by aerostatic brigades. And those cargo pants look like they could fit tools for hot-fixing your burning aerostatic. You should ask him about this.
Yes?
Look at you. It's because you're a failure. They sent you to Slight, Precinct 57. Just think about it for a second. You're a raging alcoholic who showed up 3 days late wearing piss-stained disco garb. You weren't sent here to win.
I've considered it. It would be immensely ugly of them, not to mention unprofessional. But I checked the records. This jurisdiction dispute, who polices Martinez, reaches back to the 30s. It's as old as my station. And all this time we can't decide who gets Martinez? I think, yes, both stations would prefer a win. Safe? No. But you're old. You've made it this far. Something has brought you through. We've only just started working together, so I don't know what it is yet. But it's there. So no, I don't think they sent you as a joke. And even if they did, they are in for a surprise. Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. Binocular? Is that how they do things over at the 41st? No wonder your clearance rate is so low.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Yes? Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what? This? It's just seasonal clothing. Where is this going? Interesting. I think
it's no mere brain.
Okay, art cup. I do not harbor a sentiment for revolutionary air brigades in particular. Okay, I wanted to become an aerostatic pilot. Then I turned 10 and realized we no longer have an air force. Absolutely nothing.
The revolutionary must have added a little luster to it for a 10-year-old Kitsuragi. He will never admit it, though.
I've noticed. And okay, the revolution employed a more forward-looking 8-rotor design. Their blades were foldable, and their pilots were better trained and motivated. I see this from a purely tactical standpoint, of course. Good. Good. Let's... Yes? What about me? Good.
No response. He's having trouble processing it, believing.
Have you tried...
There is a sudden, harsh edge to his voice, like he's tired of hearing about your personal...
Focus on other people's troubles, not your own.
A moment passed.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open. Are you interested in a new and exciting book? Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions. My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. Feel free to step in and browse our wares. I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. Thank you, sir. I'm happy to help Mum out with the store.
Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real. Oh, yeah, like a horse. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt. Moses, that is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You, a little, you make money. It ain't easy, but you do it, day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop and a sprinter and a money printer. Sure. And has it been easy? Are you rich? That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that? That's right. 100. Our tax is almost non-existent in the Gossamer state. That is Revachol. You and I both, but 98% of all your money. What are you, a racist? This guy's appropriating the emerging Boogie Street lingo as part of his sales pitch for the free market economy. Yeah, ain't it cool, Ryder? Ain't it street? Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist? Yes. The armor was produced by Fairweather in their facilities in Betancourt, sur la Clé in 42. It was part of a special order for Corps de Pharmacie, a security firm contracted to protect the interests of Oranese pharmaceutical companies in the Semenine conflict. So, it seems the armor went to Semenine. That's where the paper trail ends, though. Even the firm has proven difficult to track. Corps de Pharmacie has been renamed several times over in the years since the armor was issued. The most recently registered firm that the ICP has been able to connect to the CDP is a military contractor called Trinell, and the one before it was Downwell. I think they might be the same contractor.
A suit of armor like this would have been manufactured with a particular person's physique in mind. You should ask for whom this suit was fitted.
Yes, but the ICP tends to be reluctant to share private sector records. I could try to talk them into it, though. Sure. Call back tomorrow. Hopefully I will have more information for you then. 57th, over and out.
In the cabin, you see... In the morning light, the white on blue police livery on the motor carriage cannot but catch your eye. Do something important? Something murder-related? There's always something. This is a Caprice Kanema, the Caprice Motor Corps follow-up to their highly... With its air-cooled, rear-mounted 12-cylinder compression ignition engine, driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual gearbox, the Kanema is able to reach 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds, and go on to a top speed of 180 kilometers an hour. Even at a standstill, the unibody Caprice Kanema looks sleek and dynamic. The cabin is tilted frontward to give it a more aggressive, hunched look. Someone has waxed it recently.
Mm-hmm. You want to take a closer look? $130.
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12 there. Man, that's got to be a major advancement over the KR-18GU engine on the old Caprice 40.
Yeah, you know it? Yes, that's right. I'm very impressed that you know these things. Yes, an extraordinary machine.
It's nice and all, but why so modest? Put some zing into it. Flare it up. Slam it down. Helium headlights would improve the range and quality of the visual field a lot.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Just haven't gotten around to fitting them yet. I need to lay some wiring for the ballast. You want to help? Thank you for the offer. That might be fun.
He liked the idea.
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. Ah, man. Me and narcotics go way back. Had some good times surfing the psychic waves of my own consciousness, you know? But those days are behind me. There are other addictions in my life now. Why the inquiry, my man? Hey, man, that's serious criminal talk. Are you trying to pull some sort of an entrapment thing on me?
Entrapment. is a practice whereby an officer of the law induces a person to commit a criminal offense.
We have a credible lead, sir. Someone on this roundabout is waiting for a bulk shipment from the harbor to load it on their lorry and drive it to Jamrock.
Not me, man. No way. I don't need any trouble. Shit's bad enough anyway. This jam's got folks up in arms, and I'm afraid it's headed toward a conflagration. Gotta guard the stuff. Bosses don't look kindly on missing cargo, and it gives me time to work on my rhymes.
A rhymesmith? This is quite credible. It goes with its cadence and way of speaking.
Look, man, I try to stay away from the criminal underbelly of Revachol. I'm a guest here. You really need to find another man to probe with those questions.
We wouldn't say he's lying, sire. Your best verse?
That's brutal, man. But you know.
No, stop. He's already mortified.
That's,
In the name of God, what are you doing?
Yeah, I get that, and it's cool. Yeah.
He's not lying.
Yes, and I also thank you for stopping.
Magnesium-based life form. We tell them, hell no. You're about to become a magnesium-based life form. The age of the primitive carbon man is done. No longer must mankind rely on slow-working background radiation to take us further into our genetic destiny. This is the era of guided evolution, and magnesium is the key. You are the first of your species. The next step in human evolution. An advanced magnesium proto-man who mags it up, drinks it down, and sniffs it sideways.
Looking for something? Drugs? They're shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage. I don't go for that foreign piss. Proper booze is made in Mundi. Or sometimes, I like a dram of that Yugograd vodka. Koikos and worse much, but they do no booze. Not in, not out. I'll never betray the purity of my tribe.
So you're telling us that you don't know anything about drug smuggling through Terminal B?
I don't know shit. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking around at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved this country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some kip boys smashed his lock and took damn near everything. Lost his fucking job over it. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to.
If they were getting drunk inside the Whirling in Rags, how could they know who broke into the lorry?
What? Aren't we allowed to say that it's the kips who do all the stealing around here? That's not rotor science, man. Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. That's the one. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. Is your man alright? 100%. He's a lorryman selling his employer stuff. Broke the seals on his human ox lorry. No doubt he's selling drugs too.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang himself has to say.
Guess so.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man. What's on your mind?
Everything's still cool here, officer. Drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. A lot of the coolest detectives do drugs. Sadly, I don't have any drugs on sale. Or at...
Sir, it appears to be true. No drugs in sight. Not in the box of sunglasses or under the speakers.
That's even cooler. You investigating that and all. But, I am not a lorry driver. I'm just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that.
A blatant lie, sire. Yet he tells it with such conviction. We'd believe him if we didn't know better.
Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole. I'm...
Realizing he can't get out of it. Smart man.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a
And what crowd is that?
crowd. You know, the drug crowd.
No, he wasn't talking about an abstract crowd. It was that crowd.
No use. He's not telling us. He's too afraid. We need to take him to my station and ask him there, after we've called his boss.
Okay, there's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please don't get me into this mess. I spent 15 years working my way up.
Here we go. There's a tiny bit of truth on the table. Zoom in on it.
It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady.
Interesting. Could this driver be connected to the Hardy Boys?
I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved. I told you.
He's not ruling her out.
I don't know. I'm not local. I don't know anything about all of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now? I really want us to be cool now.
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man. What's on your mind? I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker. And I don't know where she is. I didn't, man. I told you I was hoping it's not her. That she wouldn't be mixed up in it.
It's true. We would of course a lie. But a kind heart is tricky. Bah. Emotional rhetoric. He knew something and he didn't share it with you. That's a fact.
Thank God I don't know. People here call her the lady driver. She kept her name a secret. From me too. Now I see why. A friend? An acquaintance. I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Died. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't be that bad. She's not a bad person. I know that much.
We can't just let it go. It's part of a police investigation.
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled. If you hunt her down, she may not survive it. I can't have that on my conscience.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. I just can't, man. I'm not... She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes. Which is why I don't want to snitch on her. It's snitching, man. I know what it is. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me, too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her. More like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now. But we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind. The way it worked. The trouble it was giving her. Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay? There are plenty of drivers here who couldn't stand her, or were afraid of her. They'd be more than happy to rat her out.
He's right. There are other options. The raceman, for one. The grey-haired woman. Maybe she knows something. Wait, this guy says they're friends, then acquaintances, and he's okay with others ratting her out?
Fine. I don't want to be a butcher. And I don't want to be a knight either. I just want to be a person who can sleep at night. A little fame wouldn't hurt too. I thought you were a different kind of cop.
Remember, you're doing it for the bigger investigation. This is important.
Here.
The keys to a motor lorry. Pretty complex. Looks like a chain lock.
The lorry's still here. Down past the statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. No, I don't know. She left them to me because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise...
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
If they break in, they would find what's hidden inside. Something incriminating.
I bet you are. Nah, I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin. I hope it gets you something. Help someone.
This screen found, A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming over.
This is the one our man pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of a seat and two steering levers. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced. There's no picking this lock. The owner has put... You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few seconds. The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. There's definitely perfume in the air. It's spicy, with a hint of amberette, wafting through the bitter air of the cabin. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run. This is Tip Tijon, a starlet from the door. She wasted away in a dress. The actresses and the rear actor. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed. Likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation, with quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least. perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. No, that's on 78.9. What? I happen to have committed the frequency to memory. I have no problem admitting that.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle. Sandpaper adds extra grip.
Sandpaper? A novel technique? Yes? Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Looks like her, yes. Now we know for certain who is the missing 8th person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? Understood. We should still go and see what Titus has got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the you wedge yourself, but one sandpaper adds extra. The movie stars are you wedge yourself, but one sandpaper.
Sandpaper? Yes. Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Now we know for certain who is the missing 8th person at the lynching. Understood.
The movie star, a metallic drawer, slides out from the seat. The pull-out tool slides back. A metallic drawer. The pull-out tool slides back into a metallic drawer. Slides out from the seat. It's empty. It's an issue of Petty Ferric from last Wednesday. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine.
The Ulan frequency system?
The pull-out tool slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Radio, posters, a trace of motor oil smell under all the cigarette. You wedge yourself, but one sandpaper.
Sandpaper? Yes. Which means that the missing lady driver was... Yes, well... Now we know for certain who is the missing 8th person at the lynching. We should see what Titus has got to say on...
The movie stars enclose the rusty...
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net.
This means it's well-funded. Technology like that, a major player must be financing it.
I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks. And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for.
The probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find.
We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause, an investigation I mean. Especially if the Madrid grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them to other ends as extra ammunition.
Meaning, someone as slippery as Everard won't be caught by a couple of cops and some stuff they found in some cabin.
As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade. Yes, well, debrief over after you.